As far as last season goes, what were you seeing across the board when you were playing?
Destroy.
Oh yes, I mean we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean I basically have the same destroy deck that I just tweak here and there. Put X-23 in it. Made sure to put Wolverine in it for the timed missions, which I still haven't cleared that one. So, and I mean, I like the destroy decks. I just eventually it was like, well, but wouldn't it be nice if we weren't all playing the same cards?
Exactly.
So that was the only thing that kind of wore on it for me. Of course, then I had my what I call, because you know me, I'm all about naming decks. They may not be effective, but they'll be named. So you got to see my stealth destroy deck in action.
Yes.
Where I was like, well, what if I use the destroyer but threw a bunch of cards on the other people's side? But then I still had like Nova and Bucky and all these people in there, and I'm like, well, everybody's going to know I'm destroying something. So, and I mean, and sometimes that deck works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Just goblins and all kinds of cards I don't mind destroying. And then maybe sometimes if it works out right, I've got a 7th turn coming up. I've got Shuri to boost Destroyer up to a 30. And then maybe with everything cleared out, I'll throw Orca on there. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I added him after you and I played. I think I was using Doom as my turn 7.
All right.
But yeah, after you and I played, I'm like, well, if I'm clearing out all the space anyway, why not Orca?
Why not Orca? There was a large discussion about nerf destroy, apparently. I think a lot of it has to do with kind of what you were talking about. Like, it's so prevalent. The one dude that was looking into the stats on this, I think he was going to, it was either Snap Zone or one of those. He was looking at the stats and he saw that, I mean, it's not really a top deck. Like, it doesn't have the winnability percentage that a lot of people were griping about.
I think the reason you saw it so much is because, you had the new cards and locations and missions and stuff that emphasize those cards. I mean, I think it'll decrease some once there's another focus. And there are a lot of cards, that work with Destroy. I mean, so there's different ways to do it. I mean, I said, be nice if we weren't all playing the same cards, but there are different ways. I mean, not everybody uses Sabretooth in it or whatever. So I don't know that it's a problem because, I mean, I have often, when using a destroy deck, put down Nova and then Wolverine and then Carnage, only to find that somebody put Armor or Cosmo on there. I mean, there's ways to get around it, especially when you know it's coming. To me, it got a little monotonous because, I mean, you see a lot of destroy decks because there are a lot of ways to do it, and there are some useful cards with it. Everything that came out this season was geared toward destroy.
Exactly.
So it just, I think it just kind of ratcheted it up. But I've never felt like they were unbeatable. So I don't know that they need to nerf it. I think they just need to not emphasize it as much and mix it up. And the cards for the next season don't have to do with destroy.
Exactly.
I think the Spider-Verse season had more people doing move stuff for a while. Not as much, but move's popular. But move hasn't ever quite been up there with destroy.
Destroy, right?
I think it just accelerated it a little bit, and I think once they lay off of it a little bit, there won't be the incentive to run it all the time, and people will try some other stuff.
Yeah, that's what'll probably happen here. I hope this coming season. We'll talk about that here. What to expect with Loki for all time. Another couple of things I'll just throw out there that I found out this season. I know I told you about the one thing that I had never seen where Brood and Absorbing Man they've been around for a while, but for some reason, this past season was the first time I'd ever seen somebody use Brood, and then they used Absorbing Man to do the exact same thing and create 3/5/5 character creatures.
Yeah. So Andy works the same way. I mean, one less, but it works the same way with Mr. Sinister too.
Right. Yeah. So
and I hadn't thought of that either, but I was reading about that, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, he Absorbing Man got into my but besides my destroy deck, the ones I went back to a lot were the booster deck with Patriot, and then Silver Surfer. And then for a while there, Silver Surfer Patriot was a popular combo.
Yep.
I made one with that, although it didn't. I don't know. Eventually, I worked Patriot back out of it.
I think it's still sitting in my decks. I don't think that's one I deleted. Was that the one, the Silver Surfer Patriot? Wong, was Wong involved there?
Yeah, and then Absorbing Man.
Yeah, I think I have that one.
Could run him in that. So yeah, I messed around with it for a while, but then eventually I just decided to face Patriot back out of it. I like, well, as we said before, I like Patriot's effect. I still think it's terrible that he's a better Captain America than Captain America.
Right. So I created a C3 deck.
Okay.
Which like I had a C2 deck, which I still have the C2 deck in my decks here. Basically, it's Cerebro and then a bunch of 2-power cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably one of the better Cerebro. It was the first Cerebro deck that I put together that I understood what in the world Cerebro was and how you had to build a deck around it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, people have talked about doing C5 decks.
I played one of those the other day.
That's crazy. So I tried a C3 deck, but again, I can't get it to work and win games. One of the things that I wanted to do was, okay, I'm going to throw in some 1-cost weenies and then Valkyrie them at some point, turn 5, obviously. And as long as Cerebro's out there, then boom, I've got Mystique in there to obviously double Cerebro's power. And I've also got Blue Marvel in there. But here's what I figured out. Man, the locations in this game work against that deck so bad.
So throw Rhino in there.
Oh, Rhino? Yeah, okay. All right.
Because he would just neutralize the location, and he's a 3-power.
That's what you would need.
Yeah, I mean,
there we go.
You could use Scarlet Witch too, but who knows what she's going to bring you? So throw Rhino in there to take out the offending location.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I just remember first game I played with it was like, oh, there's Necrotia. Like, well, can't play can't play on that location. And then like the next location was Shuri's Lab, and I'm like, well, guess I'm down to one location now. I did not get my C3 deck to work, so.
What I did with my Silver Surfer Patriot deck, which I called the Silver Agent deck after an Astro City character, eventually I was like, well, Patriot works okay, or I can take out Patriot and my, cards without abilities and throw in Darkhawk and his gang now that Rock Slide's a 3-cost card.
Nice.
So I did that. I mean, I'm reading all this stuff because I've used Darkhawk. I don't know. I was late to the Darkhawk party, and I'm like, wait a minute. I love Darkhawk. These people don't even know who Darkhawk is, and they're using him. I need to be using Darkhawk.
Right.
But yeah. Basically, it was Surfer, Boosters, and Destroy, and then I did use Living Tribunal a lot.
Oh, really?
Living Tribunal, Iron Man, and Onslaught combo.
Yeah.
And there's enough juice there that if you don't get all 3 of them, you still have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. I'm trying to think who else I have in that deck. But that's another one when I would hit a wall. I'd go back to that one from time to time. Oh, and then Silk, because wherever she lands, that's 5 points. Get Forge in there, Maximus, those guys. So try to score as many points as I can. So that one works. I mean, I'm feeling better and better about my Living Tribunal purchase.
Nice. That's good. That's what we need.
Be like 17 seasons removed, and I'll be like, you know what? I think he's finally worth it.
Right.
Someone would be like, why are you still using Living Tribunal?
Well, we talked, just a quick mention about Conquest. They started doing some gold tickets in the collection level ladder, which is obviously to incentivize going and playing Conquest. And I played Proving Grounds, and then what's the second level?
Silver.
Silver. I beat Silver, and then I beat Gold. Right,
Mm-hmm.
Gold's the next one.
Yep.
And I've got one more I could probably play, which I guess I should probably try to do that before the weekend is over. And I'm going to try to beat Infinity and use some stuff at the shop. But yeah. It's not something that I'm doing all the time.
I'm in an Infinity one. I forgot I won the first round. But yeah, I got through. I got the variant. I've gotten just about every prize. I mean, yeah, there's cards I could use boosters for, but unless it's Wolverine, you can't really target him this season. So get 200 or 120 boosters, and it's like, oh, good, more Sunspot boosters.
Right. Man, I got a lot of those. All right, well, let's go ahead and we will get into our unlocks. What we unlocked, variants we unlocked of for the past season since we did our last show. And I'll go ahead and start here. So I got my collector level up to 6,371. I also have saved up 4 spotlight caches. So I have not spent a single one. I think maybe the first week it kind of enticed me, but I was like, no, I want to save it. The last 3 weeks, as far as cards go, I think it was last week. Last week's cards, I had all of them, except for whatever I think it was Silver Samurai, I think.
Yeah. Same here with me. Now, I saved up 3, and I got Nebula, Silk, and X-23.
Okay.
None of which I had. So, and I wanted all of those, although, I mean, Nebula I found pretty useful, but it was one that I wanted, but not for 6,000 tokens.
Right.
And same with Silk. 3 spotlight caches, got all 3 of them. So,
man, I just broke 3,000 tokens finally. It takes you forever to get up when you're getting tokens now. I finally got 3,000 tokens, so I'm going to hold on to those for dear life. All right, starting with my cards here. First, it looks like I unlocked a 1602 variant cloak. Not a whole lot to that card other than just like a big cloak and some eyes. It's pretty frightening. It looks neat, but it's 1602.
Probably a lot more people wore cloaks in 1602 than now, so it's less of a dramatic statement.
That's true.
I mean, may as well call himself Hat.
Next up was Ghost Spider. So I was able to pull Ghost Spider, and I haven't used her a whole lot, but I've got her just in case. I got a sports variant Nick Fury, where he is calling a foul on somebody. That's happening. A Flaviano variant Darkhawk, which is pretty neat. Got a Scotty Young Rocket Raccoon, so that's the one where he's just wee little, and this gun takes up about 90% of the card, which is great. I got a Dan Hip Mantis.
Cable's jealous.
Yes, he is. A Dan Hip Mantis.
Nice.
And then in the shop, I finally got a variant of Punisher, and that is the Pixel variant Punisher.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, I saw it in the shop, and I had to spend the gold to get it, and I'm glad I finally got me a variant of the Punisher now. Next up was a Giulio Rincione Red Skull, and this is, I don't know if you've probably seen this variant. He's got the Cosmic Cube in one hand and a gun in the other, and he's kind of looking at the player. It's pretty cool. It's a neat looking variant. It's really cool looking 3D. And the 3D version of it, and because the way he's holding that cube is like behind him, so it looks like his arm moves when you sit there and twist it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
Luca Claretti Korg, which very kind of a cartoony style, not a Dan Hip, but a little bit more advanced than Dan Hip. I got a Chibi Arnim Zola, which is like how I all the Chibis we've seen. You know what the Chibis look like? They look like Funko Pops, and here was this Chibi Arnim Zola.
If they were going to steal your soul.
The Chibi Arnim Zola is weird because his face is still all scary in his belly, but the head of Arnim Zola, which is just like the eye or whatever the thing is up at the top, the robotic part of his head, that's funny looking because it's got this big like cartoon looking eye. It's definitely weird. It's a weird card to chibi. I'll just put it that way. And it's not cute at all. That's the whole point of the chibis. But this card is not cute. And then I unlocked a baby variant of Valkyrie, and it's great.
Yeah, you showed me that one.
Especially since I started using Valkyrie a little bit more recently. It's her hugging Frog Thor and like squeezing him really tight. So I love it. It's great. And Scotty Young did that one too. Then I got a Strong Guy Pixel. I can't remember how I got him, but
nice.
I ended up, Pixel variant of Strong Guy. Pretty neat. But I have to throw this in here because it is my first ever ink split occurred, and it was on the Dan Mora Sunspot. And what was neat was I had taken that Sunspot all the way to the infinite level, that variant, only split it once, and it ended up splitting into ink once on that first try. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I finally got my first ink split card, and I've seen them all over the place, but I'm kind of glad finally in the club. So all right, man. How about you? What do you got there on your list?
Let's see. I'm up to a 7130 something on collector level.
Ooh.
That just means I waste more time than you do. Right after we recorded last time, I got another Spotlight cache and got Mirage.
Okay.
So closing out the Phoenix season that way. Then making me think Snap knows what I like. I got a Pixel Ultron and a Pixel Thor.
Nice.
And then making me think, maybe it was just a coincidence. I got the Max Grecki, Deadpool, and Human Torch. Now it's not bad art. It's just not my thing. A lot of them don't appeal to me. I mean, it's neat. I like his Carnage. I like the style. I like that they do it. I don't know, for whatever reason, not my thing. And then I hit my Spotlight caches that I mentioned, Silk, Nebula, and X-23. And then confirming Snap does not know what I like at all, I got a Hood Chibi.
Oh boy.
And I wish you could trade these, because I would give all my chibis to the people who don't want pixel, because the pixel stuff is fantastic. I mean, I don't necessarily want to rush right out and get Silver Samurai, but I would like a pixel Silver Samurai to commemorate his time on my team in Marvel vs. Capcom, you know?
Right.
Then I got a Paco Medina Star-Lord.
Okay.
A J. Fawcett Groot, which is the one where it's like Baby Groot fishing on a little planetoid.
Oh, nice.
And then a pixelized Brood, which does call to mind. Did you ever play X-Men 2 Clone Wars on the Sega Genesis?
Oh, I'm sure I did, but it's been forever.
The Brood show up on there, and I remember my brother and I were making a concerted effort to finally beat the game, which we never did. But the Phalanx is the big villain in it, and you can even Magneto eventually joins up, so you have 6 playable X-Men, and then you get Magneto halfway through the game, and so we're making our way with like Magneto and Wolverine through the Phalanx ship, and we fight a bunch of Brood. And my brother, who's like 10 years younger than me, was like, "Oh man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a Brood as big as the whole screen that we fought?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And then 5 minutes later, there's a Brood as big as the whole screen. So anyway, I would use that if I didn't have the Brew variant. So I can't get rid of the Brew variant.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That Pixel Brood. Very cool.
Then, because not that I was that great at Conquest, but because I just couldn't stop getting Conquest tickets, I eventually got the anime variant for Wolverine, which is cool. I just rather have the Pixel variant.
But
anyway, I don't know. So far, and the different variants appeal to different people. The variants in Conquest haven't been all that exciting for me. I mean, it's cool to say like, "Hey, I did it." I still think they're trying to find the balance of that, because the first season, when they did it like halfway through, it was pretty easy to get it. And then the second season, I never even came close. And I mean, there was something mildly appealing about French Revolution, Mr. Sinister. And then this one, I was like, I can take it or leave it. And then eventually I was just like, oh, looks like I'm going to get it after all. Maybe we'll get a Angelic Punisher variant or something.
Oh, goodness. I can't. I want so many Punisher variants. Gosh. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.